Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Turtleboat, and you are watching Drawing Time with Turtleboat, a weekly drawing podcast where I cover a new illustration or a comic that I'm working on. And this week, we're gonna go over how I drew this Sagat illustration, Sagat from Street Fighter, and I'm gonna go over how I did it from inking all the way to coloring. All right, let's jump right into this shit. All right, yo. So what's going on here is I'm boiling my water in the background. So if you can hear that, please excuse the noise. But I'm using my spoon pen, a type of dip pen that I always like to use in these videos to ink over the pencil sketches that I made previously. And I'm using a light box. It's basically like this little, it looks like a little tablet, but it shines light and shit. So you could basically trace over your pencil lines. It's really useful, man. You could get it on Amazon for maybe like 30, 40 bucks. I got it on Amazon like maybe like 5, 6 years ago, and it was like 30 bucks back then. So, you know how it is. All right. So and over here, I'm drawing this little Thai kid. He's one of these kids that go to Sagat's gym in this scenario that I'm making here. And what I was trying to imagine is basically like Sagat. He was introduced in Street Fighter One. I don't want a fucking update. What the fuck? Yo, I fucking hate that shit. Whenever they try to like, oh, you want a fucking force? I don't want a fucking update. All right. Let me use my fucking computer. All right. I'm sorry. So what I wanted to do in this drawing is that like I'm imagining Sagat as like a modern Muay Thai fighter, right? Because he came out back in the day in like 1980 something from Street Fighter One, introduced as the Emperor of Muay Thai. And I've been watching a lot. I follow some of these Muay Thai fighters like Yosen Klai, Sanchai, and Buakao, who's a fucking beast. Anyway, I follow these guys on Instagram. They're always posting like their training videos. And I was like imagining, what if Sagat was a fighter in this kind of realistic scenario in the situation in 2018? Like, how would his gym look like? What kind of equipment would he use? Obviously, he would use like heavy bags and tires, and he would kick the shit out of like a banana tree, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, a kickboxer. But there would also be like people hanging out at the gym, right? Like maybe like little kids who's not really going to the gym. He's like on his smartphone or something like that. And yeah, man, over here, I want to kind of point out what I'm doing here is I'm making another layer on top, and I am trying to figure out where the light source is coming from, right? Because whenever you draw, whenever you paint, you want to figure out where the lights are coming from. So obviously outside outside it's like raining, so there's gonna be like dim light coming from outside. But in this gym, they're also gonna have like these fluorescent lights and shit. You know what I mean? So the fucking light is gonna come down from the top, and then the light's also gonna come from the outside. And it's always like important to kind of visualize that shit whenever you draw. You could be wrong, but at least you should have like a try to get an understanding of where the light sources might come from. Anyway, yeah, and I try to separate the light tones into like 3 different layers: light, medium, dark, and then maybe like another layer on top for the shadows. Yeah. So I'm drawing this little kid. He has like a little bit of a different skin tone than Sagat. And yeah, man, he's like one of these kids like from fucking Thailand who's like 10 years old with like 200 fights under his belt already. Because you know how it is, right? Like those fucking kids, like they're in like the countryside, they're mad broke. So a lot of times they start fighting as little kids. And that shit is fucking crazy, man. So I mean, if you think about it, all the strongest fighters in the world have come from difficult situations. Like Manny Pacquiao, he was fucking broke as fuck. Mike Tyson, if you ever read his book Undisputed Truth, and also another great book by Mike Tyson is Iron Ambitions. I recently got that, and it talks about the time that he's been with Cus D'Amato, the Italian trainer who's like fucking badass, and he basically made Mike Tyson who he was until he passed away, and Mike was like, what the fuck, and he got like fucking dismayed by the drugs and sex and all that bullshit. Anyway, back to Sagat. What the fuck was I talking about? I was talking about like great fighters. Yeah. So, if you think about like Sagat's history too, right? Like, he's based on actually a real fighter. I think he's based loosely on a real fighter called Sagat in Thailand. This was like back in like the 80s, and the character was actually based on this series called Karate Kid some shit. Now this Karate Kid some shit is based on the fictional and non-fictional exploits of Turtleboat, who is the Korean-Japanese guy who created Kyokushin Karate. And, he was famous for, like, training the mountains and, like, beating the fuck out of cows. Some who were, a little bit tired and, like, old, but, still, you beat up an old cow, you're still beating up a fucking cow. Anyway, so this guy was, like, saying that he was in Thailand, and he got into mad fights with, like, these Thai fighters. And so I think they were, like, so the Karate Baka, some shit, that was a series based on Masato Oyama's life. Fictionalized, obviously. And in that series, there was a character called Sagat, who then in Street Fighter 1, the creators of Street Fighter 1 took the liberties of modeling off that manga character, who was loose basically on a real life Muay Thai fighter called Sagat. Hey, I should got a little complicated. But Sagat has that cool ass scarf. Not scarf. No, I mean a fucking the scar, not the scarf. What the fuck am I saying? And what was the deal with that fucking scar, man? Like, he got that shit from what? From Ryu? How do you pronounce that shit? But Ryu, basically, if you see the movie Street Fighter 2, the animated series, that movie where Chun-Li shows off his animated tits, Sagat is just fighting Ryu in the middle of some weird ass a grassy knoll, and he's like running towards him. He's like, and then Ryu does the fucking Shoryuken, and he fucks him up. But, like, canonically in the games, what happened is that Sagat beat the fuck out of Ryu, and then it was like referee stoppage, and then Sagat came over. He was like, "Yo, buddy, you okay? Yeah, let's shake hands." And then Ryu got taken over by the Satsui, fuck, whatever that fuck that's called, the Satsui no Toyota. And Ryu fucked him up. Like, when Sagat wasn't expecting, he sucker punched him with the Shoryuken, and then he got this giant scar, which is like the storyline for why Sagat has like crazy beef with Ryu, and he wants to like fuck him up in the Street Fighter Alpha series and the Street Fighter 2. I think they obviously they mended the beef by Street Fighter 2 or 3, one of those Street Fighters, maybe Street Fighter 4, but that like storyline in Street Fighter 4 comes technically after 2, before 3. You know what? Why the fuck do we even care about storylines of fighting games, right? You guys ever play Tekken? Like, the fucking storyline is so ridiculous. It's like, just die already, Heihachi. Like, you're come on. Like, how many times are you gonna come back from the oh, maybe that's Kazuya. He got thrown in the volcano, but he comes back 20 million times. Yeah, man. Anyway, I also want to kind of highlight this character right here. So, what the fuck? All right, so these guys, I kind of want to show, like, if you go to like real Thai gyms, like a lot of the trainers are kind of like fat, kind of pot bellied. But back in the days, they were fucking crazy fit and beating motherfuckers up. So this dude is just kind of like smoking in the back. He's just he used to be a crazy fighter, but now he's like one of the trainers in Sagat's gym. But obviously he takes it easy. He's like smoking. Maybe like the kid next to him, he's like a kid who visits occasionally with his friend, but he's not training. He's just like kind of chilling, playing his little bootleg 3DS or playing on his phone or some shit. Alright, y'all, so that's what it was. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I gave you the process for the inking to the coloring, and this is the final result. You could also check me out at Instagram at my handle. Is that a handle? Username? I don't know. Fucking username at Turtleboat. Also, I have a series, like 4-panel series that I'm working on at Lion Webtoon. So check that out as well. It's called Minds the Prison. But the Lion Webtoon algorithm is pretty shitty, so you might just have to like type prison or Minds the Prison, and one of them will be my comic. Alright? Anyhow, see you guys next week, and please check it out again every week whenever I have an update. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, all that good shit. Alright? Thank you. Peace.
To my people that are living in Seoul, everybody up in Tokyo.